That is the unbridled thing that lies within us, that thing that is crying out. And there is more to life. There is more to life, and you can find it. So let's continue to just have a little bit of a conversation about this creativity and living with it and being in the presence of it and allowing yourself to break free from that, the judgment and the things that come up with that, because it will. You know, I started to talk a little bit about kids and how kids, don't have that fear. They just create. They glue things onto the side of here and they just put that there. My grandson, oh my God, his imagination is so much fun to listen to. He can literally start to tell you a story, and he's gone to China and he is, he's sitting having tea with this, and he's, searching for the dragons, and he's doing whatever. And he can go on that story for hours. I mean, hours on end. And when you just let him explore it, he just continues and continues and continues. And it's so much fun to listen to. That is the unbridled thing that lies within us, that thing that is crying out. And I honestly, truly believe, I've been through depression many times in my life, and there are situational depressions or things, sometimes it can be a chemical thing, sometimes it can be a loss that we've experienced. But when it's a general sort of depression that we feel like, is this all there is to life? And and just feeling super sad about that, which has happened to me. And I think it happens to a lot of creative people that aren't doing their creative outlet. I think that is our soul crying out from inside of us to say, there is more to life. There is more to life, and you can find it. And exploring that creativity, you might not know what the heck it is. Whether it's photography or whether it's, being gardening, in some way. Maybe it's cooking. I don't know. For me, cooking, so not it. Actually, I find cooking and eating kind of annoying. I know that sounds so weird, but when I want to really enjoy the food, but the day-to-day stuff, literally, I think if I could just take a pill and be done with it and not waste all my time prepping the food and cooking the food and, all those kinds of things, I probably wouldn't. And don't quite often. That is the joy of being single, because I can do that and nobody's expecting a meal on the table, which I wouldn't be doing anyway. So, yeah. Anyways, let's not go there. That was a sidebar. Let me get back to what I was talking about. So creativity is this beautiful space to explore ourselves, to explore play, and to enjoy that. And, I think that's one thing, the beauty that COVID has given us at this point is that it's given us space and time. And not for everybody. I mean, I'm working, I was deemed essential service, so I've been working the whole time, which has not been awesome, but working through it, and that's great. I'm grateful for what it does give me, and super, I'm okay with that. But just exploring, we can get so caught up in this idea of, but I don't know what my creative outlet, well, nobody knows what it is. There's the odd person that is born with it and knows it, and that is their, that savant or whatever, that is just, the musician or the artist or whatever, and just like that is all they do and they know. But most people, for the most part, we don't really. And what I see is that people stifle that a lot in themselves. We're so afraid of the criticism that we just don't want to do it. I have an interesting opinion about critiquing, because I know we live in a world that is kind of the norm, right? You do your music, and then you have this, you can go in front of adjudication and listen to someone else's opinion of what you're doing. But I think the problem that we have is, yes, it's good to get input and go, oh, I could do that better. I could improve in this way. But often we allow that criticism or that critique to weigh so heavy on us. We put so much weight on that person's opinion that we don't continue, we stop sometimes doing, whether it was an art teacher that's told you didn't have any talent, or, that happens. A music teacher that told you couldn't sing and please don't sing ever again, those kinds of things. That happens, unfortunately, way too often, I think. And I think that creativity, for what I bring to community purposely, is support around creative outlets. When I was doing open mics, there were times that people would come in and they weren't fantastic. That's the honest truth about it. But it's still important to allow them to have that outlet to go out, because they can get better and better, but you can't get better until you go do those things. And providing a safe space, I consider it sort of like a safe little nest. When I first started performing, playing my guitar, going out and playing original music, I was 45 years old. I was scared to death. I didn't have any confidence in that kind of stuff. I didn't even think I could actually sing, which is kind of weird now when I think about it. I really did not think I could really sing. I knew I'd performed before, when I was younger, and I got good feedback, but something inside my head, I don't know what it was, made me think, well, I can't really do it all that well. So I know exactly what it was, actually. It was performing at one point in time to, my girlfriend and I went and performed at a Legion. We were asked to go to perform to this Legion, and we were playing, and I had been used to playing at my guitar teacher's sort of annual concert, where everybody listened, and, it was great. And I went out and I performed with her, and everybody just talked and had beer and kind of ignored us, the whole time. And so I internalized that as if I had no talent to be able to perform in front of people. So I never did. I continued to perform, around a campfire. I'd grab some music and do it every once in a while, but I really didn't for years and years. So when I finally broke through that and said, I want to go and do this, and I, performed for people, and they ended up booking me, and I was terrified. But I had to break through that fear. But what happened was, that particular community that I performed for was this beautiful little nest that held me. It was a safe space for me to present my music and to be loved and held. That was what broke me out of that fear, because I had a safe space to be. If I had walked in the door and they had immediately criticized it and done all that, I probably would have put my guitar back in the closet. I've watched again and again and again so many musicians and so many people come forth in the creative outlets and the community stuff that I've done that just grew and grew and grew because they had a safe space to come. It's not only the safe space to try and create, whether it's, the 80-year-old who did comedy for the first time, or the little girl that, came in and was like just a tiny little thing and sang out, and we encouraged, and now she's like, sings in a band and does, all kinds of things. There's so many stories I could tell you. It's just amazing. But it was having a safe space and having a place to create that. So I think that has to be an important thing. So it also does something else. When people see someone getting up and performing that maybe isn't quite up, like in their minds isn't all that great, what that does for people sitting in the audience is, if you're sitting in the audience and you feel like, God, I've been playing in my basement and I just can't, I don't even, it terrifies me to think of standing up there and performing. But when they see someone that they think they could maybe do that, someone else do it, it gives you the courage to do it. It's a weird thing. We can't always find safe space within our communities. We just can't. Sometimes they're very critical and the voices are loud and they want to keep you out and, you know, don't come here until you know what you're doing. I don't believe that that's a good thing for people. So I think that if you can't find it in your community, be it for yourself. Be the safe space where it's okay to explore and make mistakes and get messy and put it out there and be like, this is what I'm doing. I'm evolving in this. This isn't perfect, but I'm evolving in it. So that's where we're going to leave this. And I think we'll segue into the perfectionism thing and try and dive sort of deeper into that, because I feel like that's a natural place to go to now. So see you next week.